Of commissioners who will be trickling in as the traffic is pretty bad out there right now.
Did you get off 45th Street or Palm Beach Lakes?
If we could have the roll call.
Mayor Baxter. Commissioner Flores. Commissioner Marino.
Here.
Commissioner Powell.
Here.
Commissioner Sachs. Commissioner Weiss.
Here.
Vice Mayor Woodward.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. I've asked Commissioner Marino to lead us in the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could please stand, if you're able.
Please bow your heads and pray with me. Let us pray silently together, each one of us according to our beliefs. Let us offer thanks for the blessing of fellowship around us. Let us be a source of hope for those in need. Let the feelings of love, kindness, and a well-directed yet gentle spirit always be reflected in our actions. And as my mom always says, let us leave the world a better place than we found it. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any additions, deletions, or substitutions?
Vice Mayor, you did have one deletion. Item 3B1 was pulled for the staff review.
Okay, could we have a motion to approve the agenda as adopted? Thank you. We have a first from Commissioner Weiss, second from Commissioner Marino. All in favor? Any opposed? See that that passes 5-0. Okay, moving on to the regular agenda. We have a motion to receive and file from Commissioner Marino, 3A1. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Powell. All in favor? Any opposed? See that that passes 5-0. Yes, I'm sorry, Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you. I'd like to ask that we reorder the agenda to take item number 5 first.
Okay, to move number 5 first. Do we need a second for that? Second by Commissioner Marino. All in favor? Okay. That will pass. Any opposed? So that's 5-0. Do we need to vote to change is that enough, or do we need to vote that we've amended the adoption, or the agenda?
Well,
as
you made
adopted?
may I be recognized? You made a motion to reorder the agenda, so unless the county attorney has any objection, I believe that's.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear her, but the motion, you did reorder the agenda via motion and a vote, correct?
So we're done?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
All right, so now we can just move on to item number 5, which will be, are you planning to take the lead on that, Commissioner Weiss?
I can do that.
Okay.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. So item number 5 is we are going to be recognizing the retirement of our super deputy, extra deputy, Administrator Todd Von Laren. If anybody would like to speak, though, please fill out a comment card and turn them in to Craig. He'll make sure that we get them. And I think Administrator Abruzzo, do you have anything in store for us today?
We do. We have a few things in store today, Commissioner. Thank you, Mayor. If we can actually roll, we have a short video to be played.
I think it's bar mitzvah.
Why are we here to honor a man like Todd Von Laren tonight? No, really, why? What are we doing? Seriously.
I can't imagine Palm Beach County, this building behind me without Todd being in it. I know he's still going to be interacting with everybody that has worked for or keeps working for Palm Beach County to make this place the best place to live, work, and play. Because he doesn't just say that, he really means it, and he lives it every day.
Todd, thank you for the great job you did for me when I was county administrator, working for the public, the county commission, and to getting up to Tallahassee, organizing our trips there, doing our lobbying, because as you know, I did not like doing that, and you took total responsibility for it and did a great job.
Everyone in Tallahassee, legislatively, if you're an elected official or you're a staff or a lobbyist, you're largely playing checkers. You're doing that while Todd is playing three-dimensional chess, and you're going to get beaten because he's going to outwork you.
Todd has been in government now for decades, and yet everyone still likes him, which is so rare.
We had a lot of funny times. Todd said, just follow me, act like you should be here. I did. We got behind the curtain, and we were able to have a few minutes with former President Clinton at that time. So he taught me, just pretend you're supposed to be here and keep it moving.
One of the first things I wanted to do is to get Todd organized, and I took a crack at his contact list. And he had over 6,000 entries in that contact list, and I took it down to about 1,500. Rachel really has me to thank that she and Todd fell in love and got married because I purposely deleted a lot of random female names from that list that were simply described as Sarah, the redhead from the bar in whatever city he was in. So anyhow, he was quite the ladies' man, but always so respectful and wonderful to work for.
The singing, I had to drive to Tallahassee with Todd. It was a 6-hour car ride, just he and I in the car. And the singing, it never stopped. I went to the 80s channel, singing, 90s channel, singing, the Catholic channel, singing. At one point, I was praying that someone would call him to have him stop singing in my car right next to me.
T-Bone is more talented musically. He's a better singer. And he can play songs that I can't, although there are certain chords that I can play that he can't. So overall, though, he's more talented.
Now, when you get old and you've watched this video 10,000 times because of the great things people are going to say on it for you, you'll be able to look up the sign there and know it's me talking and not ask Rachel, who's that?
It's probably time for him to take a break because I don't believe he's going to retire.
I don't see Todd as a good vacationer. I've seen Todd at the beach, usually in a suit, so that's probably not going to work out. I don't see him being on the sidelines for very long. And quite honestly, he shouldn't be.
Well, it's something unpredictable, but in the end there's right. I hope you have the time of your life.
We love you, Daddy. Please come home. Yeah, the night is so long.
That's it.
Madam Mayor?
We do have a couple of comment cards too. Do you want to continue?
I do, Madam Mayor, with your indulgence, before we get into the comment card, we do have a gift for Chief Deputy Administrator Von Laren, and would like to present it to him. All of us. Perfect. Should we call him up here? Or?
Yeah, I was going to.
Yeah, come on.
It's alive.
This is for you, Todd. It is a clock from staff and the commission. So, hope you honor.
there more? Okay, we're going to move on to the comment cards. Commissioner Powell?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Up next will be Melissa McKinley. Or should we do that one first? Melissa McKinley, then she'll be followed by the Florida Association of Counties. We also have a video to be played when the Florida Association of Counties comes up.
Please let the record show Commissioner Flores has joined us too. Thank you.
I like your suit, Mel.
Thank you, Madam Twin. It's nice to see you again this morning. Good evening. Good morning for the record. Melissa McKinley here today on my own behalf to thank and recognize my good friend Todd, T-Bone, as DA and I like to call him, and I'm sure there'll be more remarks tomorrow evening as we celebrate you, but I wouldn't be standing here today if you didn't take a chance and steal me away from Michelle McGovern at Senator Nelson's office. And I think one of the reasons I really enjoyed working with Todd, if you don't know, I worked for him. He was my boss for 5 years, and then I became his boss, which is always a fun story to share among friends. But Todd was raised by a single mother. And I think, coming in as a new single mother with 3 little kids at home and being able to work for somebody who understood the challenges of doing that, really made a difference. I hate being the first one to have to speak after a video. But I'm so proud to be a part of your family and to call you a friend. And if I ever do find myself working for you again in the future, I know you're not going to let me have a crack at your contact list. But today, let me do my job. My job is today to present to you 2 letters that I received for you. The first one from Senator Ashley Moody. I just want to read the letter into the record. Dear Mr. Todd Bonlaring, congratulations on 30 years of service to Palm Beach County. This milestone reflects not only the length of a distinguished career, but the confidence others have placed in your leadership and judgment over many years of public service. From your early work guiding legislative priorities to stepping into the role of interim county administrator during a critical period, your steady hand and a clear understanding of effective local government have been consistently demonstrated. Current responsibilities overseeing essential county functions continue to show a commitment to thoughtful coordination and to ensuring services operate efficiently for the people who rely on them every day. Great respect is held for the professionalism and dedication you have brought to this work. This service has helped strengthen Palm Beach County, and this anniversary is a well-earned recognition of the impact you have made. It is an honor to witness such a legacy of excellence. Sincerely, Ashley Moody, United States Senator. I also have a letter from United States Senator Rick Scott. Dear Mr. Bonlaring, it is my honor to congratulate you on your retirement as Chief Deputy County Administrator after many years of service to Palm Beach County. Thank you for your hard work and commitment to serving your community in the state of Florida. As Governor of Florida, I fought to create a better life for Florida families so every Floridian, no matter how they grow up, has the opportunity to get a good job, receive a quality education, and raise their family in a safe community. My goal in the U.S. Senate is to continue building on Florida's tremendous success so every Florida family can live their American dream. I am incredibly proud of our state's success, and none of it would be possible without hard-working Floridians like you. Congratulations again on your retirement. Thank you for your service to Palm Beach County and the state of Florida. I wish you the best for a wonderful retirement. Sincerely, Rick Scott, United States Senator. And I just want to add, and I'm sure Administrator Abruzzo can appreciate this, but my first year in office when Rick was the governor, Senator Abruzzo got a lot of appropriations in the budget that year that were vetoed because there wasn't an understanding of what the Glades was and the needs that were there. And you invited Governor Scott at the time down here and took him on a bus tour along all the bumpy roads in the Glades and showed him the water pipe, had him hold that old pipe in his hand. And I think he approved about 95% of every appropriation request for the Glades that came after that, and that was because of you. So thank you so much for everything you've done, T-Bone. And if I could, I'll give these. And the last is a card from Ginger Delagal. I'll let you read that.
And now a letter, a correspondence from the Florida Association of Counties. Greetings. We wanted to take a moment to wish you, Todd, a very happy retirement. As a Palm Beach County native who grew up in the area, I truly appreciate the work you've done and the impact you've made over the years. Your dedication and contributions have not gone unnoticed, and they mean a great deal to those in the community. Attached is a video from the Florida Association of County staff honoring you and celebrating your many accomplishments. We hope it serves you as a small token of appreciation for all that you've done. Ladies and gentlemen, a video presentation from the Florida Association of Counties. Happy retirement, Todd.
Greetings, Todd, from Leon County and the headquarters of the Florida Association of Counties. Ginger Delagal here. I wanted to take a quick minute to say personally to you, thank you for your decades of service, not only to Palm Beach County, to all of Florida's counties, but to all of the state of Florida. The work and dedication and energy and resources that you have poured not only into your county, but to us here at the association has made a difference over the course of your career with the county. I am looking forward, however, to potentially continuing to work with you, but know that 30 years of service and retirement from a county like Palm Beach is a milestone absolutely worth honoring. And your work for your community has been awesome over the course of time. You are community minded, and it is community first for you, Todd. We look forward to continuing to work with you in some capacity. Fingers and toes crossed that we still get to do that. But please know from the bottom of my heart that we are grateful up here for everything that you have done for us. And I couldn't end this without a little bit of a Go Gators for you, Todd. All the best.
All right, Todd. So while I am somewhat envious of your early retirement, I do want to say thank you for your friendship over the years, your ability to mentor so many of us, the legislative process at the Capitol. Your work with the county manager has been fantastic. And Todd, what really stands out to me is your presidential tie collection. I was very impressed when you showed me photos of those. And so as not to be outdone, I do want to send a parting gift to you. And we'll be sending this FedEx, and I hope you can see it. This is from me to you. Good luck in your retirement.
Hey, I'm Craig Mosteller, and I work at the Florida Association of Counties. Hey, Todd, congratulations on your retirement. I've known you for almost 20 years, which means two things. One, we're both getting older, and two, you've probably introduced me and everyone else watching to half the people we know. Because if there's one thing everyone agrees on, it's that Todd knows everybody. And if he doesn't, give him about 5 minutes, he will. But what really sets you apart isn't just who you know, it's that you always pick up the phone, you always return the call, and are always willing to help. And that impact hasn't just been felt in Palm Beach County, it's been felt in counties across Florida and honestly, the country. Palm Beach County is losing a legend, but I have a feeling your phone is still gonna ring a lot. So congratulations, Todd, and I hope you enjoy every minute of it. You've definitely earned it.
Hey, Todd, it's Davin. I want to wish you congratulations and thank you for all your years of service and working with us at VAC. And I just wish you the best of being a father and whatever comes next.
Hi, it's Anna Dowdy with VAC. Todd, congratulations on your retirement from Palm Beach County. I have greatly enjoyed working with you over the years. You're one of those folks who will always answer the call to serve. For years, you've been a huge asset as our technical advisor on the FAC Finance and Audit Committee. And most recently, you served as FAC's appointment to the Florida Trust, first as an investment advisory board member and then as a trustee. I appreciate you and I appreciate your willingness to share your time and expertise. I wish you and your beautiful family all the best and hope to continue to see you around. Take care, Todd. We'll miss you.
Okay, see that the mayor has arrived, so I'm passing the gavel back to her.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
I would like to say what an amazing video. Thank you, Todd. And I am going to turn it over to Commissioner Sachs.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mayor. There are moments in everybody's life where we work, which are moments where you meet people and they make such an indelible mark on your life. That happens rarely. But when it does happen, it's something that's very, very heartwarming. And it may only happen one or twice in our lives. Todd Bonlaren came into my life through his grandfather, who loved Todd very much. And but I think that his grandpa loved my husband more than he loved me, because they would talk all the time, rather privately, about Todd's life. And this was before he met his beautiful wife. Todd has a family that numbers into the hundreds and thousands. He has no strangers. In Tallahassee, we got so much done for Palm Beach County because of Todd Bonlaren. The FAU Medical School didn't just appear. It was funded by the state of Florida because of Todd Bonlaren. So many of our water projects here were funded because of Todd Bonlaren. And when the certain Republican senators, and I know that Senator Abruzzo understands this as well as Senator Powell, when they wouldn't budge, Todd would just sit in their office, just sit there, wouldn't say anything, wouldn't bother anybody, but they knew they couldn't close the office until that man left. And that man was standing and sitting there for us. So at the end of the day, at the end of the session, it was usually, what the hell does that guy want? What does he want, 20 million for a new? Just give it to him, just give it to him. Oh, he said he'll take 30 to leave? Give him 25 million, right? And this happened over and over again. And then you'd see Todd after hours, because in Tallahassee, it doesn't end at 5. It sort of begins at 5. And that's when the real action becomes. And that's where you saw Todd. So in a way, it was a blessing for all of us here in Palm Beach that those beautiful little girls came later, because Todd's family was our county. And so much of what we have today is because of him. I could go on and on, but you all know what I'm talking about. And even just in Washington, I mean, I really don't know Washington, D.C., but Todd knows Washington, D.C., the ins and outs of Washington, D.C., which means it's all about relationships. You don't get anything in government or politics or even business without having that relationship with people. I'd never met anybody who did not like Todd Bonlaren. He's just that kind of a person. And we're not losing you, Todd. We're just we're borrowing you to your family for a while. Okay, right? So you know that. After a while, they get a little, having the husband at home all the time it's like, do something. We need Publix, so do. And so I'm sure that this man will be very busy. And I think he'll have 2 angels with him all the time. So, Todd, I, with many, many others here, and especially County Administrator Abruzzo, would like to make a motion at this time to name a particular area on the county that you had a lot to do in. I wanted to name the medical school after you, but they said you'd have to go over there and be one of their, like one of their people that they experiment on. So I said, no. His body is for his family. So we found a place that is a very special place for you, and because of you, it's there. And that's the Green K Learning Center building. So at this time, if I may, Mayor, if I could make a motion to name the Green K Learning Center building on behalf of Todd at this time.
I have a motion, and I have a second by Commissioner Flores. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that that motion carries 7-0.
Congratulations. Wow. Thank you, Mayor.
Todd, would you like to say a few words? I mean, a few.
A few, yes, ma'am.
I'm just kidding. It's your last. You take as much time as you want, Todd, but we do have to leave by 5.
Okay. As much time as I want. I never thought I would hear those words. But thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. This is an incredible honor. Definitely not expected, but certainly I think a place that is special to me, and I've dedicated a lot of time and effort to make this happen. And the team at Water Utilities is second to none in putting this together. What a fabulous honor. I'm speechless about this. But I would like to say to each and every one of you on the board, thank you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the direction that you continue to point this county to every single day. The progress that I've seen this board make has been incredible. It really has been. And that's due a lot to our county administrator as well. It's been fabulous in the shorter time that I've had to spend, on the administration side with him, but for over 20 years, having worked with Administrator Abruzzo and being there with him through a lot of his victories and just playing a little small part in some of those as well has been incredibly meaningful to me as well as to my wife, Rachel. To the members of the boards of county commissioners that have come before you, who I've had the pleasure of serving with. Thank you all. Thank you, Melissa. I really appreciate your comments today for being here. You've been an invaluable friend and family member of mine for a long time. And I've been able to forge those relationships with lots of our members of this Board of County Commissioners, of the legislature, of Congress, because I think that's how we work together and get things done. I put parties aside all the time for the betterment of this community and this county, and it has worked really well for me, and I think it's worked really well for our community. The incredible employees that work for Palm Beach County are some of the best that I've seen, and I've had an opportunity to work with county employees across America. And it certainly goes without saying that the work that they do is precious, is valued, and I just want to commend each and every one of you for the public service careers that you have taken on. It has been a blessing of mine to be a public servant, and always will call myself that first, no matter what I do in any workplace. Is that I really truly feel like I'm here to serve our community and will continue to do that. I think that, when I look back at some of the great accomplishments that I see, I mean, Green K is really one of my, I feel like, crowning achievements that I've been involved in. I mean, in terms of working with the Winsberg family and negotiating the sale of their property, over 28 years ago, working on getting the appropriations for all of these special projects there, Green K Phase 2, and the Learning Center has been, without a doubt, one of the great things that I've had an opportunity to be a part of. In the Glades community, working on our Lake Region, our water treatment plant out there, was certainly something that I felt very strongly about, in making sure that our Glades community had the same quality of drinking water as everybody else did. And those are the kinds of things that I kind of, smile about when I see them. And I can say that about hundreds of other projects where I've been able to put my fingerprints on. And really just that. I think I get too much credit often for a lot of things that I've been a part of, when other people have had, as much, if not more. And I thank each of them every step of the way for doing that. I'm so grateful for my family. And I'm so grateful for Rachel and my girls, and I'm so glad that she didn't take the girls out of school today, again, to surprise me, because this would have been even more difficult to do. But Rachel, I couldn't have done any of this without you, without our family, our team, and I look forward to continuing for many, many years to come. You've been there through this with me every step of the way, as both a friend, as a trusted comrade, as a best friend, and as a wife. And I couldn't have asked for a better partner in life to do this with. I also wanted to say thank you to the many mentors that I've had in our county, in our community, some of our administrators who you saw, and Bob Weissman, Virginia Baker, Brad Merriman, many of them who just, gave me an opportunity and gave me a chance to prove myself. And I worked hard, and I refused to give up on a lot of things when other people did. And I think those were the great opportunities that I had to do this, to give back to our community. I will say that my hope is in the future to continue to give back to Palm Beach County, to continue to give back to the state of Florida, to our country. Even though my public service work is stopping now, I think that the work that I'm going to continue to do for this community and this state is going to continue for many years to come. I want my kids to see that. I want them to know what it means to work hard every day. I want them to see results and for them to be a part of that. And I want to be a mentor to them as well. And that's part of the reason why, I've decided that, after 30 years, just getting that time back as an old dad to be able to spend that with my family and my kids is really what has driven me to this decision. So thank you so much. This is just a little bit overwhelming, but I appreciate everything that this board has done, our administrator, our entire team that we have in administration with Patrick Rutter, who's been a right hand of mine for so many years, and some of the new folks on our team, and Tracy and Tom, and really appreciate Tammy and the work that she's done with us as well, because I know that she's going to be leaving soon too, and hopefully we both leave some great things behind. So Mayor, thank you so much for giving me all the time that I needed.
You have plenty more.
I appreciate that. And thank you all for sharing this with me. This is truly something that I will cherish forever, and I hope that we continue to do great work for the community. Thank you so much.
So Tisha Buttle with Rep. Lois Frankel's office, if you would please come up.
Good morning. Thank you, Ms. Mayor. My name is Tisha. I'm here on behalf of Congresswoman Lois Frankel. I'm so sorry I have to go after that. The Congresswoman deeply regrets her being absent today. She really wanted to be here, but she's at the airport right now. She, 2 weeks ago, honored you and wanted to include a tribute to you in the Congressional Record Proceedings and Debates. So she actually wrote this herself, and I will just, because we're too short on time, I will read the first paragraph and the last. So she said, Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor Todd Bonlaren, a distinguished public servant, and to congratulate him on his retirement after an exceptional career serving the people of Palm Beach County. A proud Floridian, Todd is a graduate of the University of Florida and Florida State University. He began his career in the Florida House of Representatives, working for Representatives Bert Harris and Joe Spratt, where I first met him more than 25 years ago. I've had the privilege of watching Todd grow from an eager young staffer into an exemplary leader in our community and a devoted husband and father. Todd Bonlaren's career is defined by dedication, integrity, and a deep commitment to public service. His leadership has made Palm Beach County stronger, safer, and more resilient. I am proud to recognize his contributions and wish him all the best in the next chapter. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I'll leave it with your wife so you can read it later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I was thinking back on when I first met Todd, and it's about 20 years ago when I first met him. And if anybody doesn't know this, but Todd likes to entertain. And you had a house, I think it was on Hunter Street, and they were some very large events. I think the statute of limitations is passed for the city of West Palm Beach to be able to cite you for that, but you have always been somebody who has welcomed other people not only into your home but into your life, and I feel so lucky to have had that opportunity. I don't think, I know at that time when I had met you, I had never imagined I'd be working together with you. This last 7.5 years in my life has been an amazing journey, but you've been a part of that journey. And I'm very, very thankful. Sometimes things can get a little dicey up here, and you were always the one who could sort of take the temperature down, help us understand, what's really in front of us. And I know you did this for many, many boards, and so for that, I mean, it's both personal, but it's also your talent of really connecting with people. I guess the other thing I want to share with people, and they probably don't know, a lot of people don't know this. During COVID, everything was shut down. People couldn't get together. People, were kept apart. And at some point, as we were going through this a couple months in, you started to do these things, you called it potting. A couple of people you could get together with. Well, Todd and Rachel, for Rebecca and I, were our Saturday nights. That's where we would go on Saturday nights and hang out and just have some sense of what felt like normal again back in our lives. That time is something I appreciate, but it's something I will never forget. It was, you didn't know from one day to the next what was going to happen. Is it going to get better? Is it going to get worse? But I knew on Saturday night I could be together with somebody who you could just be normal, talk about what else was happening in the world, and that was so meaningful. And then one night, Rebecca's like, I think something's going on. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, Rachel just wasn't herself. I think she may be pregnant. And I'm like, well, I don't think you should say anything. I mean, we've all been, eating a little much, and just keep it to yourself. But apparently she did say something to Rachel, and then we did find out. And to be a part of your family and your children's lives, I really appreciate it. You truly are my brother from another mother. And I know I'll continue to see you and be with you, but I just want to thank you. Thank you personally. I want to thank you on behalf of the people of Palm Beach County, state of Florida, what you have done for everybody. There's not enough thanks in the world for that. So I wish you all the best, my friend.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Bonlaren, for all the time that you've served this county. I'd like to thank you as a citizen who's lived here and was unaware of all the work you did before I got here. And now that I am aware, extra thank you to that. And all the history. I love knowing how this board got to wherever we are, and you're always good for a story. And that's so valuable to me. And even some interesting stories. I think one of the first stories you ever told me was about the 2000 election and how young you were and how that all went down. And as someone who lived through it, to hear the realities from this side and all the stories that came. Another big thank you is someone who was new to all of this, never been in office, had really no idea what I was stepping into. All the introductions that you it's something special to be introduced, I think, by you, because it's like, it's a warm handoff from someone who's really earned a lot of street cred in Tallahassee and all the different places, and to be introduced by you as someone, it was extremely helpful. And for every one of those introductions, thank you, because it does mean a lot to someone like me coming in. And I'm sure there's a lot of previous board members who've all felt the same way, or anyone who gets introduced by you. Don't stop doing that, please, anytime we run into each other. And for sharing your family with us, too. I like to bring my husband along to things, and they all get to know each other. It's really valuable for us to see each other as more than what our jobs are, and what motivates you to come and do this, and what motivates you to leave us right now. It's understandable. Beautiful young family, and I look forward to you continuing to share their growing up and whatever comes for you after. Congratulations to both of you. You will be missed, but we understand. I understand. And I am kind of glad that you're an old dad, because that means you got to serve this county well for a number of years and do what you did. And lastly, just continue to share with your children and everyone, because they're going to grow up here, and you'll be able to point to a number of things all around this county that you were a part of. And that's so valuable. That's a true legacy. You've got your fingerprints all over a number of things here. So keep telling those stories. And as they grow, let them know who you were before, and let them see everything that you've helped create. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
I thought this was going to be a roast. So anyway, I'm going to start the roast. 2019. I'm in this dance competition. We're raising money. That's something that Todd is really good at doing. And I'm thinking I'm going to win, and I've got Johnny Bench is supporting me, and in walks Elvis Presley. And and Elvis decorates his table, and they win the table competition for decoration because there's someone in the audience by the name of Rachel who had these little pop-ups that all had these Elvis faces, but in reality, it was Todd Von Laren. And he danced the pants off of us. And there's pictures, and there's video. But the reason I'm telling this story is because as much work as Todd has done politically, he's done work for the public in a supportive manner, raising funds, West Palm 100, all of the different charities. And we all know how important nonprofits are to our community. And Todd, what you've done is you've been an example of what a servant leader is. And you will continue doing that whether you're in this building or not, because that's in your heart. That's something you're going to give to your kids. And it's a life well lived. And I just want to say thank you, because I'm happy I've been part of it.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Hey, Todd. It sounds a little somber in here, which is not what this should be about. This should be about celebrating you and a milestone. I wish I was in your shoes. You've created a legend out of yourself, and a lot of people here in this building respect you, and they look up to you and what you stand for, and your work and your professionalism speaks for itself. So I'm extremely proud to have been in this path of yours. We have crossed paths many times, and I remember the first time I got mad at you. We had a meeting, Green Acres. We wanted some septic to sewer dollars, and you broke it to us that we weren't going to get any. And I remember walking out, oh, that Todd. But you know something? You have always been, even though we didn't see eye to eye that particular day, and we didn't get what we wanted, you always did your best to make sure that if anybody needed anything out of the county, you were at the table, and that you would listen, and that you would do your best to try to help us. And this past year we went up to Tallahassee, and we went up to Washington, and it's unbelievable how you just know everybody down the halls, and everybody's like, "Hey Todd, hey." I'm like, "How do you know all these people?" That's something that speaks volumes about who you are and what you stand for. I see you as a father figure, and you seem like you're an awesome dad. And that is I'm a father of 3, and that is in this lifetime, that is the one thing you should be the most proud of. And I'm so happy that you're able to take a step back to prioritize in family. I know you're not going to do that for very long, because I know your nature, and you're probably going to go out and do something special. Can't wait to hear what that is. I hope it has something to do with the county, and you still stay involved. I have a bunch of board seats that I can appoint you to. So you let me know. Palm Tran is like right up your alley. You let me know how we can get you involved. But what do you need, Rachel? Like 2 or 3 months? More? 6? Okay, more? All right, we'll figure that out. But Todd, now that you're no longer in this role, or when your time ends, you will now roll into my brother a role where if you ever need anything, you call me. And if I'm ever doing anything that I shouldn't, I'm stepping on myself, you call me out on it. You have my cell phone, text me, especially when I'm up here in the dais, and say, "Hey, Flores, you may not want to do that." Thank you. No, but I'm extremely proud. From District 3, we will be doing something for you probably next week. So I want to make sure that the community knows who you are, what you've done, and we'll be recognizing you. So thank you so much for your service, and stay close.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Todd, you joined the Daddy Caucus, which is really important. Mayor Flores, I said Mayor, Commissioner Flores indicated he remembers the first time he got mad at you. And I had to think, when was the first time I ever got mad at you? And I'm very rarely mad. But I thought back, it was South End Neighborhood Association meeting. I don't think I told, not meeting, an event at the park. And I can tell you now, because you didn't know I was mad at you at the time. I didn't really think I was mad at you, but I was there with my daughter. And you said you're leaving. You and Elle were leaving. And now that I think about it, that didn't make me happy. Because now, my daughter didn't have anybody to play with. Now I'm upset. You have talked about being an older father, which is good, because you now have time and you've learned a lot of things, and you can give your daughters the world. When you and Rachel had Ellen Blair, you did become a part of the Daddy Caucus and the Daddy Daycare Caucus. And I'm excited that you're going to be home. Greg Weiss indicated him and Rebecca would come and hang out on Saturday nights, which is great. I was wondering where they were going on Saturday nights. But since you'll be home when there's a day off school, I have figured out where I'm going to drop my daughter. There you go, Rachel. Congratulations. As a legislator, I spent 15 years in Tallahassee, 12 as an elected, 4 in the House and 8 in the state Senate. And many times when I was in the House or the Senate and we needed to get something done, whether it be policy-wise or in the budget, we would go through our normal channels, and many times I would say, call Todd. Todd will get the job done. GTJD, get the job done. And many times I would call Todd and he would have the answer. And Todd would say, go talk to this person or that person and double back. Let me know what they say and I'll hit them, and then you hit them again. Literally, like we would hit these people. In the hallway, in the elevator, we had trackers on people to make sure Commissioner Sachs said Todd would sit there, and he would. And we would really have plans on how to catch people. We knew what time they were getting on the elevator. We knew what time they were going certain places. And this is how you make sure you get things done in Tallahassee to bring the bread back to Palm Beach County. So thank you for that, Todd. You were and continue to be very helpful to those of us who had served in the legislature and those who are currently serving by getting the job done on both sides of the aisle, with everybody from the Senate President to the governor to the Speaker of the House and all points in between, making everybody feel like they're important. One of the most important things that, I like to say that a life of service is a life that counts, which is truly important. And your life has been truly a life of service. But the most important thing that you all should know about Todd is not only does he know every song that comes on karaoke from every genre, Todd actually knows the best places to eat in every town that we go into. So if you are ever out of town, call Todd, ask him, has he been here? And if he's been there, he can tell you the best places to eat and the best places to be entertained. Like a lot of other people have said, they're going to let you go home and do your thing. I appreciate that. I have not said that. You can go home. If there's something that I need or a question I have, trust me, I'll call you. Unless you change your cell phone number, you can expect those calls. Unfortunately, you won't be on the payroll for the county to be responding, but I know where you live, so if you don't answer, I know what this thing people do, it's called pop-up, so I'll pop up on you. Todd, thank you for your service. It's good. Congratulations. You've served a mighty long time. You are an older dad, but you're not the oldest dad. Older than me as a dad, because I'm an older dad. And I know how that feels to go somewhere. Even this weekend, you may not get it. I got it. My daughter ran up to me and hugged me, and somebody said, "Oh, it's so cute. Your granddaughter?" It was not cute. It's kind of disrespectful, but I'm sure you don't get that. Todd, congratulations. I'm wishing you the best on your next 30 years of service, and congratulations.
Commissioner Sachs, you're recognized.
I just want to say, Todd Bonlaren, Rachel Bonlaren, we honor you and we love you. Godspeed.
Administrator Abruzzo.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. When you just came up, I could tell you were a little hesitant to take the seat, and rightfully so, you needed to be sitting there, because 3 administrators would not be where they are today without you. The first 2 with Bob and Verdinia, you helped champion so many of their initiatives, bring it home, as we've all heard. For me, most importantly, you set my foundation. And I cannot think of a better friend and mentor that the 9 months through the entire process that we've been working together that I could learn from. I do have one gripe, though. I heard what Verdinia said, that your advice to her is just fake it. And that's the opposite of what he tells me. We spend hours and hours going over history, things that I remember him saying, look, even administrators from other counties, city managers, if they haven't been here in Palm Beach County for the decades, they wouldn't understand some of these things. So he holds my nose in the books almost as a true teacher. And again, just the opposite. advice and direction that you've given to me. It's anything but faking it. You've taught me so much in such a short period of time. With that said, and I heard from the board, you are irreplaceable. There's nobody that has your breadth of knowledge, history, compassion, record. It is my full intent as administrator that when it's legally viable, that you stay part of our county, that we do have you. And whatever works for you, whatever you decide to do with your number one priority, your family life, possibly personal ventures, but if there was that time carved out where you will remain a part of our Palm Beach County family officially in a consulting role, because I think your phone will not stop for me as it doesn't day after day. And you being part of us, at least while I'm as administrator, you always have a home, and we need you, quite frankly. I just have to say, on behalf of staff, I talked about your mentorship, but you have mentored so many. I've been hearing stories since you announced your retirement, and I won't go through many of them today, but you mean so much to so many people, and I know staff has had time to share that with you, but I wanted that on the record for the board, the respect and those he's helped along the way. I've never seen so many people. You're lucky if you get to help one or two personally along the way during a career, but you've helped hundreds, and that is remarkable. So with that, thank you, Madam Mayor and board. Todd, you're not going very far, so appreciate it. Thank you.
Todd, nice try. I wanted the administrator to go before myself, and I wanted to say some things. We have disagreed on a lot of policy issues. I will always respect you as a father and as a husband. I have seen how amazing you are with Rachel. I've seen how amazing you are with Blair and Elle. I mean, there's nothing more important than that in this entire world. And Commissioner Powell gave me a great idea. I'm dropping my kids off too. I mean, I couldn't think of a better stay-at-home dad, and I see the love in your eyes every time you look at those little girls. It's been amazing. One of the things I will say we have very much so agreed on has been clean water. And so I'm so happy that we are naming this new project after you, or the extension of the project. It's amazing. You deserve it. You put a lot of work, a lot of your, I believe, heart and soul into that project. So thank you for everything you've done for the Western communities and bringing clean water out there. Thank you for everything you have done just in general, helping our county be a better place to be. So thank you so much, and you're going to be greatly missed. Have a wonderful one. Would you like to say anything else? I will give you as much time as you want, Todd.
I'll wrap this up quick for you. Just to each of our department directors, division directors, and staff, again, I couldn't thank you all enough. If it's not for the work that each and every one of you do, those of us in administration, don't look good in the things that we do. And so you are really the heart and soul and the backbone of this county and of this community. And I want to make sure that you all keep up the great work that you're doing. To the board, continue to be the visionaries that you have been. And every single one of you, I know that wants things to happen, wants things done, wants things to be for the betterment of their community. I think that goes without question for every single one of you. I see it in every one of you. Your intentions are pure. The way that you approach your work, some might be different than others, but you all have the end goals in mind of doing things for the community. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the friendships that I've made, that I will continue to make. They've all been special. I'll continue to be there for you for whatever you need, whether it's history, advice, opinions, bounce things off, strategy. I'm certainly...
And good restaurants.
Yeah, good restaurants. If you need to know who to call and need contact information, I've still got that Rolodex of 6,000 plus that they talked about earlier. So that's still in the loop and available to each and every one of you. So I couldn't be more thankful for our administrator and for his team that he's put together. This is truly humbling Thank you to Ali Bayat and the team for the incredible work that they're doing with hundreds of millions of dollars of construction projects that are in the mix. They just do outstanding work, and I'm just proud to be a part of this county, and proud that Rachel and I will continue to be Palm Beach Countyans, and this will be our home where we continue to grow and thrive and contribute to this community. And I just can't wait for what the future brings for Ellen Blair and for every single one of us. So really excited about this day. A little sad, but mostly happy, and looking forward to a great party tomorrow night as well. And I hope you all are able to make it. Should be a lot of fun. So thank you so much, and it's been my absolute pleasure and a thrill and an honor of a lifetime to have served this county and this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we all get a picture with Todd, please? Tell them I'll accept them. I'm only going to give a minute. I'll let them know. You're going to be missed. Commissioner McKinley, would you join us, please? Commissioner, he's been your best friend for decades. Mm-hmm. We should be at regular?
Yeah, we're at number 4.
This one or this one?
We already did that. We're at 4.
Okay.
Workshop.
Okay, so we are going to proceed with the rest of our agenda. I do have a few cards. We do not generally take comment cards for workshop items, but I think it would be a fair compromise to give each person, since they are here and they would like to speak, at least 1 minute to say what they need to say. So I'm going to have Commissioner Flores call them up.
I got Jennifer Thomason. I have Cindy LaCourse Blum and Linda Charles. We got 2 podiums.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jennifer Thomason. I am the CEO for Habitat for Humanity Greater Palm Beach County. We are very active partners with the county. We are very excited about this workshop. One of the things that I would just like to reiterate, if you don't already know, a lot of the affordable housing programs and subsidies and different things that are out there are helping more homeowners that are 120 to 140. And we have always focused on working with those lower income homeowners, and it's getting more and more difficult. And so in this workshop, as we discuss some of the strategies that the team is going to be suggesting, I just always really encourage everybody to keep that in mind. Homeowner subsidies are very important to Habitat because some of the other reimbursable construction loans are helpful, but the homeowner subsidies, which is part of the strategies, is something that's really important to Habitat. We have actively worked with the team of the county. We really appreciate that relationship that we have with them, and we're excited for the outcome of this workshop. Thank you.
Briefly before you go, do you mind if I ask a question? Yes. You said that it is important to Habitat for Humanity. How would you elaborate on that a little bit?
For what, the subsidies?
Correct.
So what's happening for Habitat right now is when we're building a home and we're trying to work with somebody who is making maybe $70,000, the property taxes and insurance is really difficult for them. And just so everybody knows that we have a zero interest mortgage based on 30% of their income. So we have a different model. And so when we try to fit that into that 30%, those homeowner subsidies help us with that final number.
Thank
So
you.
that's why that helps.
Thank you for explaining.
Hi, good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, County Administrator. I want to thank you so much for all that you've done towards working to address the crisis that we're having in affordable housing in general. And I do want to commend the staff on the program that they're bringing forth as part of this agenda item, where they'll be putting out county lots with subsidy as well as bond financing. It's really the trifecta of affordable home ownership development, where we need either surplus land or below market land, we need development subsidy, and then favorable financing. So this program has all three, and I just really want to commend them for really thinking it through and coming back with a project that could really work on the street. I do want to just do one cautionary statement, is that I just want to make sure that you don't put all the subsidy that you have coming up for homeownership development with just the pilot or just the proposed program, only because during this time there are projects that have been in process that do require some homeownership development subsidy. So just make sure it's one of the tools in the toolbox for homeownership development and not the only. Thank you.
If you would, before you leave, please state your name for the record.
Sorry, Cindy LaCourse Bloom, Executive Director of the Community Land Trust of Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Linda Charles. I'm the Executive Director for Partners to Housing, PBC, representing 12 nonprofit developers, and 2 of them just spoke. I just want to echo everything that they've said, but the key for me is leveraging. So all the programs that are being presented today, especially the Mass Saving Program, it's quite important because the gap is like $150,000. So the more that we leverage, the more important it is to put people into housing. I also thank the staff for bringing even the lots. We are adding everything together, the lots, which is limited to land, because land is most expensive. You have to allocate about $100,000 for land when you're doing development. And hopefully they would include some zoning into this equation to make things easier as far as density is concerned. So thank you, staff, and thank you, Jonathan, for always being in the forefront of this. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. All right, staff, you have a presentation for us?
Yes. Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Administrator Abruzzo. Today we're coming back to the board to present for sale housing development and home ownership strategies as requested by the board. We're going to discuss some things, but what will not be discussed is rental. So you won't hear us talk about rental, although we're doing rental. We want to focus today's conversation on home ownership strategies.
Jonathan, real quick, if you don't mind, before we get started into this presentation too much, I don't want to listen based on assumptions, so I'm going to ask in advance. Have you worked with the Economic Council or outside partners and heard any feedback in regards to why homeownership and penciling out has been a problem?
We have worked with many of the outside agencies, in some cases with Jack Weir, but Jack doesn't do for sale, he does rentals. So it's really working with all the other agencies that are doing the for sale option, whether it's nonprofit developers and for-profit developers.
And have they given input into this presentation?
We've received some input from the community, but not specific for this, but over the years, which is is how we prepared today's presentation. As we've been doing the housing bond, they've been giving us feedback. We've been bringing changes back to the board on for sale options. Hence, we've used all of that input from the community to kind of build what we're presenting today.
And thank you so much for that. I just want to voice my concerns are that I've heard for 3 years now that we have issues with our getting for sale out there because of certain, I guess barriers is the correct term that I should use. So I just want to make sure we are addressing those to make it more likely to get for sale units on the market.
Yes,
So,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
if you would please proceed.
Thank you, Mayor. So the first slide I want to share or talk about is one that we typically share with the board, and that really is the ratio of median single-family home sales price to median family income. If you all remember over the years, typically when you're going to purchase a home, you will be asked, well, what's your income? And typically you use a ratio of 3 times your income to determine how much you can afford in a house. When you take a look at median income versus what we're seeing now, you see right now we're at 5.5 times someone's the median income in order to afford a house. And so that creates the challenge that we're living in. And some of the concerns we get from the community is it's expensive to purchase here in Palm Beach County. When you add in the land, you add in construction costs, and you see the changing interest rate environment that we're in with the lenders. So this next slide is an interesting slide. The far left column is income group, income categories from 60 to 140. That second category or column deals with the income that AMI group can earn or that they earn. And what we did is we backed our way into what a maximum payment would look like if that family or that person earned 30%, or we're going to pay no more than 30% of their income toward a mortgage payment. And so you'll see from 60 to 140 in that third column, from $1,754 to over $4,000 is really what that maximum payment that family could afford. That next column, maximum affordable price, is really the amount of a home that they could afford. And then we did the same thing at 35%. Typically, the rule of thumb for affordability is that you should not spend more than 30% of your income towards your housing payment. We know, because in Florida we have a lot of HOAs and a lot of condo associations, there are times where we go up to 35%. So we wanted to give you
Hey,
that.
Jonathan, Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you. In looking at your slide there, you have no. When you're looking at home ownership, what about maintenance in there as well?
So with regards to maintenance, what we typically do is on the maximum payment, typically we max it at 30%, but when you factor in HOA, you factor in condos, we understand that sometimes we have to go up to 35% of a household's income to take in consideration those costs.
I was thinking of actually, if you actually own a house, a single-family house, you have maintenance, that you need to, we can't take that out of the equation because some people are going to have, there's things that always have to be fixed, and especially when we were talking a house for, you're probably looking at older homes in our community that you can get to at these prices.
So you're correct, Commissioner. And so you could see then, based on what those AMIs and max payments are, just based on the principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and HOA fees, you understand not only the cost of maintenance, but even depending on where you live, it's transportation. So there are a number of other things that factor into the overall monthly payment an individual would have if they owned a home, and depending on where they live, the transportation costs, the maintenance costs, et cetera, that would be associated with that.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And to piggyback off of what Commissioner Weiss said, one of the things that we also should take into account when someone does own a home, you talked about, Jonathan, Mr. Brown, the distance and travel, but when individuals do own homes, they're building equity. Commissioner Weiss, when you talk about costs that will come up, sometimes those costs do come up if they build equity in that home. What they can do at many times, which doesn't end up costing them too much in the long run, they can take out a home equity line of credit to fix a refrigerator or to buy a new refrigerator, washer, dryer, air conditioning unit. Or if they own a home, they can save just a little bit extra a month. So when those things do occur, they'll have the ability to replace them. What I find is a lot of times people say, I don't want to buy a home because when I buy a home, then something's going to break and the landlord will fix it. Well, every year the landlord increases their rent. And a few years ago, we saw people's rent increase by over $1,000. And those people right now are the ones who are calling our offices saying, what am I going to do when they kick me out and they put me on the street? Are you just going to let me live on the street? We don't have an alternative. So the idea is you own a home, you purchase a home, you build this crazy thing that's called equity. And in that home, you can get what they call a home equity line of credit or HELOC, or borrow on the home so that you're not in the negative. Also, what I've seen a lot of people do when they own a home is they've been able to use that home to take money out, to send their kids to college, to eliminate some debt. See, when we take people out of the equation of home ownership, we're taking them out of the opportunity to build equity and the opportunity to build generational wealth. That's why it's so important that we have home ownership opportunities, and we work diligently in Palm Beach County to provide those. I just wanted to make that point because, yes, things break. I've owned my house for over 10 years, and I've replaced the air conditioning, the washer and dryer, the stove, the microwave. I've replaced it all. But I have what they call equity, so we're able to continue moving. But we replaced it without using our equity. But we know those things are coming. We're prepared. You have a rainy day fund because guess what? One day it's going to rain.
And if I can add to that, one of the requirements for everyone that participates in our program is the 8-hour home buyer education course. And within that course, there is the budgeting course, there is the conversation about how to be a good neighbor. There are all those things that take place in order to help an individual understand the true realities of home ownership. Okay.
Good morning, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Administrator Abruzzo, Carlos Serrano, Deputy Director, Housing and Economic Development. The department currently implements several types of programs to increase home ownership and production of for-sale housing. We offer funding to developers through our single-family development programs, where we provide it on a competitive basis for the construction of affordable and workforce homes. We administer homebuyer assistance programs, offering first or second mortgage financing directly to workforce and affordable buyers who are purchasing for owner occupancy. We also administer homeowner rehabilitation and emergency repair programs for existing homeowners. And lastly, foreclosure prevention programs where we provide one-time financial assistance to a homeowner who has experienced some type of financial hardship and is in arrears and facing a potential foreclosure. This slide summarizes the department's homeownership accomplishments over the past 5 years since 2021, including 309 acquisitions, 287 rehabilitations, over 1,200 foreclosure preventions, and 41 for-sale housing units newly constructed. As you can see, and as you're aware, clearly our greatest challenge lies in the new construction of homes for sale. Today's workshop was prompted by board discussion of the Housing Bond Loan Program. For homeownership, the Housing Bond Loan offers developers a construction loan of 0 to 3% for up to 36 months. Due to housing bond rules, the entire amount of loan principal must be repaid upon sale of the home. The benefit to the developer is interest cost savings, estimated at $15,000 to $20,000 per unit. Although this savings is helpful, by itself it is not sufficient to yield an affordable sales price, so additional sources of subsidy are required. When we talk about subsidy for sale development, there's essentially two types. There's the development subsidy, which is the subsidy that's provided to the developer to fund or reduce the cost of development. Then on the other side of the transaction, there's purchase subsidy, or subsidy provided directly to the buyer of a for sale unit to help close the gap and make that purchase affordable. Whichever type of subsidy the county is providing, we are imposing affordability requirements that we secure by a lien on title to the property. So moving into a few strategies. First option would be to provide county-owned properties for development. We've been working with Facilities Development and Operation and have identified approximately 40 county-owned infill lots that are suitable for single-family development. These lots came into county ownership primarily through the tax escheatment process and are located in residential neighborhoods in both the unincorporated area and municipalities. The strategy here would be to offer these lots via competitive RFP in conjunction with low-interest construction financing. The lots would be conveyed to the developer with a reverter clause. If they didn't construct within a certain period of time, we'd take title back. And a low-interest construction loan would be provided that would be repaid upon sale of the unit to the home buyer. The value of the donated land plus the construction, low-cost construction financing together would subsidize the development cost of these units. Second option, which the need for we've often heard from our partners who you heard from today during public comment, is that of permanent subsidy for home ownership. Permanent subsidy is subsidy that's provided in the form of a loan for development costs, but unlike a traditional construction financing, when the unit is sold, only a portion of the loan principal is repaid and some portion remains in the property, forgiven and stays in the property as permanent subsidy. Depending on the cost of developing the unit and also depending on the target sales price for which income group you're targeting for sale, it might be the case that the entire amount of loan principal is forgiven and stays within the property. In any event, the county secures its affordability requirements through a declaration of restrictions on title. We'd recommend offering permanent subsidy from sources such as the Federal Home Investments Partnership Program, which the county receives an annual grant administered by HED, and also the State Housing Initiatives Program, another annual grant to the department. We recommend offering permanent subsidy in conjunction with construction financing in order to increase production and affordability of the units. And third option is...
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you give me an example of what something like that looks like regarding the permanent and the...
Certainly. Let's say a hypothetical deal. We have a housing unit that costs, making up numbers here, $400,000 to build, total development cost for sale unit. We've given a loan to the developer of, let's say, $100,000 to go towards construction cost of that particular unit. Now, the income group that's being targeted for the sale of that unit can only afford, let's say, a $350,000 sales price. So we've given a $100,000 loan. It cost $400,000 to construct. So upon sale of the unit at the $350,000 sales price, we would be repaid $50,000 of our $100,000, and the other $50,000 would remain in the housing unit, be forgiven that $50,000 of principal, and would place a declaration of restrictions on title to the property to secure the affordability of it.
Is that $50,000 that's forgiven attached to a certain time period to make sure that they don't resell and...
Yes, sir. Depending on the funding source that we use and the programs that we do have different periods of affordability, some 15 years, some 30 years.
Okay, I'm not fan of the 30-year, just putting that on the record. Thank you.
Yeah. And if Commissioner, if we can add, I mean, that was our first for sale bond deal with the Community Land Trust, where we provided home funds for that project as a permanent source of subsidy, and the commission approved housing bond. So the leveraging of multiple funding sources in order to make for sale happen isn't new. We've done that before as well.
If I may, I know some builders that do smaller projects like this, and I'll use Brandon Cabrera, Brand X, as a person that, builds one house at a time or a few at a time. I think a project like this, there is a small segment of the market that could be attracted to doing this, especially if we're providing these loans. And they could go out and feasibly start doing a lot of these little projects that would have an impact and also would help do a lot of infill. I know, and I'll use Brandeis as an example, in Green Acres, he went into the original section and he basically single-handedly revitalized that original section of Green Acres because he started building one house at a time in these empty lots. And for Green Acres, it had a tremendous impact. But if we are gonna be providing these 100,000 development loans, it would make it more feasible, and I think it would help the community. So early on, I am a fan, except without that 30-year threshold. Option 2.
Which is,
I think we're looking at all options, but right now, regarding that one.
Right. And the affordability can be addressed. The one thing that the longer affordability does not impact is their equity. So in some models, you'll see, maybe a shorter period, but an equity sharing. From a county's perspective, we don't recommend the equity sharing unless that's something the board wants to do. So we'll have the longer affordability periods, but we will not impact the equity they can earn on those properties.
I'm going to recognize Vice Mayor Woodward here in a second. I just have a quick question. So with that affordability period, is there a way that they can get the dollars? Is that what number 2 is discussing, or number 3, where they can have it as a subsidy to the property, and then until they just have to stay there X amount of time, and then when they sell, it's repaid?
When they sell, it's repaid, and the length of time they stay in the home is really up to them. The affordability period ensures that we don't lose an affordable housing unit to the market. It really only helps us to identify someone else who is in the affordable workforce category to purchase that unit, but it doesn't impact the equity from the person that's selling.
But when they do pay it back, can it go back into a pot of dollars to potentially be applied to another property?
It typically does, not necessarily for that buyer, depending on where they're at in the income eligibility. If they've now grown beyond our eligibility, the money comes back and we help another buyer throughout the county.
I think to Commissioner Powell's point, we're trying to get them equity in their home that they can use later as the properties increase in value. They sell it and they can use that towards a down payment and so on to another property. But once those monies get repaid to us, it's then available to use. Of all this, I will just say I'm not a fan of tying the dollars to one property. They can always be reused at another property. I don't know why we're so focused on making sure that one in particular unit stays in this program. Is there any specific reason why?
So, great question, Commissioner Mayor. So it's not necessarily tied to one property. The funding really becomes a revolving fund. We use these dollars over multiple years to help multiple people purchase multiple properties. What it does is it helps to stabilize the individual to get in the home, because without the board's assistance, they would have never been able to afford the home. And so now they're in the home, whatever equity they've earned, they're typically using that equity for their next purchase if they don't stay in the home, for the affordability period.
But, okay, so what's our current affordability, what's our current affordability period?
It's different on different programs. For our state and federal programs, it's 30 years on for sale. For the workforce housing, it's a 15-year recurring.
Yeah, see, I agree with Commissioner Flores on that. I'm not a fan of that, and I'll wait to hear what Vice Mayor Woodward has to say.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's on this, if I'm understanding correctly, the permanent subsidy is the part I'm tripping up on, because upon sale, a portion of the loan principal is repaid, and then a portion remains on the property as a permanent subsidy. So again, the question just started with equity conversation. Is this almost, because when they sell it, the equity, most people, you buy a house, you keep it for 8 years, whatever you sell it for, that's your equity that you take with you. How will that work in this program if they sell it in 8 years? And do we then get the permanent subsidy paid back at that point? And then how does the equity work?
I'd like to make a clear distinction between how The permanent subsidy is secured versus the option 3 when we talk about direct homeownership assistance, when we're providing the funding directly to the buyer. When there's a permanent subsidy left in the housing unit because, say, we made that $100,000 loan, got repaid $50 and then left $50 in it, that $50,000 that remains in the unit, that loan principal is forgiven. Although we take a declaration of restrictions ensuring affordability of that property for some time period, whether it's the 15 or the 30, there's not a $50,000 lien that's encumbering that property that has to be repaid. When we are providing direct assistance to a buyer, to Mr. Serrano who's purchasing a home and he receives some assistance, then that is a financial lien on the property itself. And if Mr. Serrano sells within the 15 years or whatever, now I'm obligated to repay those dollars. So it's an important distinction between the permanent subsidy and the direct subsidy to the home buyer.
Okay, but this permanent subsidy, like if it's $100,000, goes to the developer who's building the house.
Mm-hmm.
When he sells it to the homeowner, he would pay us back the 50, and the other 50 becomes a grant?
The other
Yes.
50 essentially becomes a grant. That amount of principal, the 50,000 of that loan principal, is just forgiven. Yes, and we take in exchange a declaration of restrictive covenants on titles of the property.
And then we work to ensure that if the county is putting in 50, that we're going to get as close to that as a reduction in sales price, again, making it affordable.
So, and this wouldn't be bond money because that has to be paid back. So
Yes,
where
ma'am.
is this pot of money that we're talking about coming from?
Go ahead,
We
Carlos.
have both a federal source in from HUD, the Home Investments Partnership Program. It's a grant of about $2.5 million, a formula grant that comes to the county from U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And then we also receive annual funding from the State Housing Initiatives Partnership Program. That amount varies from year to year depending on real estate activity and on appropriations at the state legislature, but that is a steady grant income source as well to the county that could be used for these purposes, and currently is.
All right, well, I'm going to have more questions, but thank you.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
So, Jonathan, you made something as close to a reduction of the same money that we're forgiving. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that they are reducing that price unit by that amount that we're reducing. So,
Yes, sir.
if we're giving them 50,000, I don't want the developer taking a little bit of that and only passing down 40,000 savings. You see what I'm saying here?
Yes, sir.
So if we're going to forgive something, it should go directly to the buyer. And regarding the restriction, I would consider 10 years, 15 max, personal. And the reason I would want that restriction for that time being is because what we're seeing is a lot of people are selling and moving to Port St. Lucie or to the counties north of ours. I don't want somebody to come in here, into one of these affordable units, stay there for 1 or 2 years, sell it, take that equity that they built because we gave them that 50,000 grant, and then they take it out of the county. And now that unit turned from an affordable unit to now a market value. So that's the reason that I would like to keep some sort of restriction on there to make sure that we prevent that from happening. But I don't want to tie a person into a house for 30 years.
Yes, sir.
I think the average length that somebody will live in a house is between 8 and 9 years.
Roughly.
Yeah, 7 or 9, yeah.
Roughly.
So that's, to me, that's where I see the restriction, just to make sure that we keep that, that being a fair process.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but I also don't want the developers taking that forgiveness slice of that pie. It should be directly to the buyer.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you for that. I have a question to follow up on what Commissioner Flores indicated. Ensuring that the development, as you said, is close to keeping that $50,000 subsidy. How do we ensure that? Because if developers start developing and then they come up with all these change orders and the costs continue to increase, and they originally, let's say the house is going to be $300,000, and with the $50,000 that we included, be sold for $250,000. But then there's change orders that happen while they're constructing the home, and it ends up costing $350,000 now on what was originally a $300,000 house. Now, did we completely lose that subsidy, and how do we ensure that there is how do we make sure that's an accuracy in terms of how much that cost has increased because of change orders or because the increased cost of materials, especially now considering that gas prices have increased tremendously, the cost of shipping things have increased. How do we make sure that we're being accurate, or there's a way to check that?
Before the county would release any dollars on that particular project, we'd already have some sort of agreement in place with the prices and things that are locked in. The things that are typically, at times you'll see the pricing particularly change, and why it's not at exactly that 50 in that example is, one, we factor in the cost of land, and then you also have to factor in the cost of demucking. And so we could provide some dollars, but ultimately, again, depending on where that project is and some of the other conditions could impact it. But with regards to the sales price, we'll typically have that. We'll typically bring that to the board. We'll typically have that locked in. We'll know where we are in terms with the sales price. But as you mentioned, there are some unknown things that may happen within that project, whether it's construction, whether it's demucking. And that's why I say we typically try to stay as close to that amount as possible in terms of the subsidy that the county is going to provide.
Commissioner Powell, before we move on, would you answer, how do you feel about the 30, 15, if the average stay in a home is between 7 and 8 years? How do you feel about those lengths of time?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have enough information to realistically or accurately speak on that. Going off of what I know and what's not in front of me, I don't have the right amount of information to follow up on that. I know I've been in my home for over 10 years, and I know I grew up in a house where my dad lived, and we were there he's still there now. So my mom and dad, we lived in. So I'm not the right person. There's got to be somebody who has more information than I do, and I don't have the right statistics in front of me to accurately speak on that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Couple things. So typically, normally we're talking about new developments, and it seems to me like one of the challenges we have is the costs, right? I mean, that's ultimately what it is. We have a lot of homes in our community that are older that don't cost $500,000 or $600,000. They're being sold for, depending on the condition they're in, anywhere from $250,000 to $300,000, $400,000. So could a developer or somebody who rehabs homes then apply for one of these low-cost loans to be able to buy and refurbish one of these homes to be able to turn around and sell them for these prices? Is that something that is available?
That is an eligible activity under those federal and state sources that we mentioned that could be utilized for this strategy of providing permanent financing, an acquisition rehabilitation strategy as opposed to new construction.
What about the housing bond? Is precluded from that?
It's not necessarily precluded. The issue would really be is the dollars that the county provide in the housing bond, 100% of those dollars have to come back, so there wouldn't be any permanent subsidy to leave into that property. Right. And then we would be looking at least based on the bond rules, you're typically going to be looking at around 10 units or so. So it's really about a little bit more volume on that for sale side.
But wouldn't they be able to? Because you're also usually giving another subsidy, right? You're usually giving a down payment assistance, right?
Yes, sir, to the end user.
right? So wouldn't that then potentially become the profit for the developer and they pay back that loan?
It could, if the developer wants to buy existing units, to do it that way.
I mean, it seems because the amount of subsidy it would take potentially to fix an existing home versus what we're seeing in new construction costs is significant, and it seems like it might be a more efficient strategy for how to help people get into homes that are in a good condition.
As to your point about oftentimes these deals, the buyer themselves are receiving a direct assistance, right? That's correct. Often that's the case. But remind us that per the recent board direction for our direct home ownership assistance programs, our first-time home buyer programs, we're doing that on the lottery process now, right? That buyer has the ability to purchase any home out there on the market that, you know, meets the standards. So there's no guarantee. I guess what I'm trying to communicate is there's no guarantee that there is going to be a buyer who, you know, wants to purchase this particular acquisition.
That's on the
rehab
50-50
unit.
match for now, right? Or are you doing that with all your subsidies now?
We're doing that with all of our direct home ownership assistance programs now, making those dollars available via lottery style process.
And then going back to your the county-owned properties, those 40 infill lots. So where I first bought my actually first single-family home, it was primarily most of the homes around us. There were two homes on a lot. There was a front unit and a back unit because it was too expensive. By then, the cost of the land had become too expensive to support or allow a lot of people to be able to just buy buy a single home on the lot. And so that was by right. That every property could do that, and that's the way most of the properties got developed, was when the old house needed to be torn down and put back in, and they were rebuilding, they would put two homes on a lot, a front home and a back home. And that would also seem to me to be something that would be beneficial if we're trying to create home opportunities for home ownership. Because you share your cost of dirt, and a lot of your infrastructure can be shared between the two units as well. So it would seem like that would be a really smart idea if you're going to try and develop those 40 lots, because instead of 40 homes, you end up with 80.
Certainly, and I believe some of those lots are large enough to probably accommodate 2 units, and we've had some success so far working with our partners, the Community Land Trust of Palm Beach County, who spoke earlier, where they've done some villa-style 2 units, 2 attached units, but for sale for home ownership.
So these were not big lots. They were, I want to say 30-foot wide lots, 35-foot wide lots. And I think they were maybe 100 feet deep. I mean, they're not big lots. And one went in front, one went in the back. The front one got a little front yard. The back one got a little space in between the front and the back unit. And, but it got people into housing, in places, otherwise they would not have been able to live. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we've seen it, especially in the Westgate Belvedere CRA, where they've done almost kind of a shotgun style house on some of the more narrow lots. And our programs will not come against that if that's what a developer presents. And if that's what if the lot sizes and the municipality that governs the PZB portion of it would allow it, we would not have any resistance to that.
I think it's something we should be encouraging, quite frankly. I think I honestly think it should be something, that, if you've got 40 lots, and I know I've seen in Lake Worth Beach, we've had Habitat put multiple units on single-family lots as a way to try and create affordable housing.
Yes, sir. We would definitely do that, sir.
Commissioner Flores has a direct question to this. Do you mind if he goes first? Go ahead, Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just wanted to add something to that. I agree with the last statements of Commissioner Weiss, where if we have the opportunity to fit two homes or two different families to be able to build equity, that would be great. Townhouses, I'm a big fan of to start out with. So if possible, I think that should be looked at if the lot is big enough to do 2 or even 3. Thank you.
Commissioner Sachs, you're recognized.
I think we've heard some excellent from Commissioner Powell, Commissioner Flores, and Commissioner Weiss. Are these possible, Mr. Jonathan Brown? Are we going to be able to come forward with these ideas?
Yes, ma'am. What we would do is take a look at the lots and the lot sizes.
No, I'm not just talking about 2 or 3 or 4 in a lot. I'm talking about some of the issues, especially that Commissioner Flores, Commissioner Powell brought up. What I'd like to see is, this is a workshop.
Mm-hmm.
So work on it. Bring it on back to us, and let's make sure that we've got it down pat before it goes to confirmation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to go back, because I did have that question for option 1 about these lots, because we don't know what they are, and some of that does depend on the zoning. But if we could do, townhomes, villas, duplexes, there's any number, depending on the zoning. I love that idea, because this is about home ownership. It's equity, all of that, whatever shape that takes. And people want different things. Not everybody wants a single family home. Some people very much want to be in a condo and never touch grass in between, so it depends. But providing more options, I love that. I did have a question on option 2 when we were talking about the permanent subsidies. If we were to open this up to doing the rehab units, that, we know that there's a number of properties out there. I have a house two streets over from me that was purchased for what I thought it was going to be like, hey, there's a chance this is a very reasonable price point and a family could get in there. A flipper got it first and gutted it, and now it's twice the price. So it took a home that would be affordable, and granted, what they've done is phenomenal, but the house was a good structure. It needed a few things done. That's something that, one of these could have maybe, some new windows, the stuff that really makes it a good quality structure home without all the fancy stuff that doubled the price. But if we do things like that, how is that different than doing new construction? Because we would put the same limited 15-year, whatever deed restriction that we would put on a new construction. Could we not do that with these rehab units and then offer that? There's developers who do this type of work where they're going to find homes that it's a good quality structure. It's a concrete home. It needs potential new air conditioning, the things that, maybe this money could go into. And then that can become a home that we sell to someone who qualifies under all the other parameters. Is this something that we could do with this?
We not necessarily through the bond program, but through the federal, state funds, or any of the local funds. Yes, we can. And part of what we've tried to do to help individuals access those properties a lot faster than the market is we provide first mortgages. So now the individuals aren't necessarily just waiting for the bank. We can commit them to a first mortgage, and it hopefully speed up their process in trying to acquire those properties that are available. If they're able to identify what's available.
Okay, and this opens up the market. If they go and find these homes that are going to be, quote unquote, and affordable, but it needs upgrading, that a homeowner who's coming in at that price point, they can't put $100,000 or $50,000 into bringing it up to par. But we could use this to do that. And as Commissioner Flores was mentioning, and different homes scattered in Green Acres. There's a number, even in Boca, these homes exist. They're county-wide. They exist, and instead of doing build from the ground up, it's a lot less work. You're not doing permitting and certificate of occupancy and everything else that goes along with it, and the full construction costs. We could get a lot more bang for our buck by just adding this amount of money to an existing home and working with the builders who do that.
And Vice Mayor, and it's part of the workforce housing program. I mean, you typically see the workforce housing developers building new, but they can acquire existing, which would help do some of the things that you want. They don't just have to construct new, but if they decide to meet their obligation to the county by buying existing homes and then making them available for workforce housing buyers, that is an eligible activity already that you've approved.
And what is the reason again we can't use the bond for that? Because it has to be new construction?
The bond, right, it's creating new housing units. And so if
Okay.
the housing unit already exists, then it creates a challenge.
Thank you.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you. So I think what you're hearing is that the board would like to know what the maximum density would be on these 40 lots and what we could do with that, because it would, if it's more than 40, that would be fabulous. My question to you is, have we figured out what the actual value of these lots are? And is there a sentiment to just wholesale sell them and then the money from them would go to fund everything else that we do? Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just thinking out. I'm trying to come up with as many options as possible, because, you know, as this discussion at the Homeless Advisory Board the other day was, we want to keep people in their homes. We don't want them to become homeless. So whatever we can do, and a lot of those folks, we find out about folks that are on the brink because of code compliance. And we know we've done a lot with CDBG grants for them, but these are the folks that, if there is a way to keep somebody in their home, that's a great way to help figure out who that is. But, you know, it's just however we're funding this, as opposed to the 15 and the 30, my only hesitation about the 15 is that then in 15 years, we do all this now, and in 15 years, all of these homes now become regular affordable homes, and we're back to the situation of, do we have affordable housing in 15 years? So by state and federal, you said it's 30 years?
It's 30 years, but again, that's because that's what we brought to the board and that's what the board has approved.
When we get money from the feds, what is their requirement?
Depending on the funding source, if it's home, and depending on the amount, I think it's 20 years.
For that federal home program that we mentioned, for new construction home ownership, I believe you're looking at 15 years.
So the Fed is only 15?
Depending on the strategy.
The minimum. They allow the grantee, the county, the municipality, to establish its policies for the affordability term, so long as it, meets that federal minimum.
I just don't want to see us in 15 years having the same discussion. Yeah. I really don't. So again, bring back to the board what is actually viable on these 40 lots. What is the price tag on that? And if you sold every lot for $100,000, you're looking at $4 million. That's a lot to put into a fund. And if you're able to subdivide them, that's even more. So just another tool to put in your toolbox. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you. First question, can you remind me where these 40 lots are?
Yeah. So the 40 has now increased as working with FDO, it's 55. There are 6 in unincorporated Palm Beach County. There are 2 in West Palm Beach. There are 4 in Lake Worth Beach, 1 in Riviera Beach, and then the rest is Belglade and Pahokee and South Bay.
Which leads me to my next, question or points that I want to make. And these are things, of course, that we discuss at the Coalition of Affordable Housing. When we talked about the housing that's available in Palm Beach County, the units that are $300,000 and under, the realistic thought process of any houses in Palm Beach County that are $300,000 or under is within a day or 2 days they're under contract, they're contingent, they're sold, whether it's a wholesaler or somebody cash buying it. That realistically, if someone's in the market looking for a home and by the time they find these houses, unless they've already been working with the proposed seller before they put it on the market, they've already lost. that's one of the biggest challenges that we have to look at when a house is 300,000 or under. And right now, I was just, to do a quick check, I was looking in West Palm Beach on Realtor.com, and I found one. And if you do find more than one, usually those houses that are under $300,000 sit in an HOA community that HOA monthly is over $400. So that already knocks them out. So those are things that we realistically have to think about. In addition to that, conversation with regard to dual units. I'm a major fan of accessory dwelling units. However, as a planner, we do realistically have to understand that within the city of West Palm Beach and within even unincorporated county, the city has the zoning and land development regulations, right? And in unincorporated Palm Beach County, there's the ULDC, the Unified Land Development Code. And each municipality has a set of standards that are code compliant that prevent, there's a minimum lot size, right? If you're going to build a home, if you're going to build a single family home, if you're in SF, single family, you are not allowed in most instances to put 2 units on the lot. Now, you could try to rezone it, but depending on where the lot is situated, you may not be able to rezone it if they're going to call it spot zoning. There may be creative ways that municipalities are currently working to allow for dual units or accessory dwelling units, but you also have to account for parking and all the other variables that go with land use, the minimum amount of landscaping, the number of trees that are required, pervious and impervious, whether you can park on pavers. All those things come into account when we, as a board, have pushed the idea that maybe we can do 2 units on a lot. But the challenge is, if it's a single family lot, and even if it had 2 units previously, if over 50% of the previous unit or one of the units was destroyed, you can't rebuild it because it would be non-compliant, right? So these are realistic things that we have to think about when we bring up these ideas, because I talk to people quite frequently with regard to a number of ideas that we think could work, and they sound good on paper or they sound good when we say them, but policy, of course, policy gets in the way. And don't forget that acronym that I told everybody about, bananas. Build absolutely nothing near anywhere near anything. It sounds good when as we sit here as policymakers and think about what we can do, but the minute you start going into a neighborhood and allowing accessory dwelling units, let's say we allow 5 on one street, then the green shirts or the red shirts are going to show up in the commission chamber and say, we don't want this. You saw it recently when there was a project that was going to be a church lot, and the people from the neighborhood showed up and said, we didn't pay for this. We didn't know these people were going to come and move in, and we don't want those people here. Those are the challenges that as we hash these things out, we realistically have to think about. I want to thank you all at the team for bringing these options to us. We have to work through them. But also, when we think about these, we're here with this discussion. We've got to be tough when we allow accessory dwelling units in an area or the municipality and we start building them and people come here and start screaming at us. Just remember, those people moved in and they had a chance. They have somewhere to live. We're trying to create opportunities for other people to have places to live, which really becomes a challenge. Those are the things that we have to look at when we start thinking about lower price units, when we start thinking about increasing the number of units on a single family zoning designation. And then to piggyback on that, when you asked me the question earlier about amortization, about 30 years or 15 years, my thought process is this: if someone receives a subsidy, I don't know if it makes a big difference if it's 30 years or 15 years, but I do believe that it should have the ability to amortize. So if it's a 30-year process, then I think every year that those people live in that unit, it should amortize a certain amount. If it's 15 years, amortize a certain amount so that it's not, they get $50,000 and then 15 years it just all goes away. Maybe it's if it's 15 years, every couple years, every year, a certain amount is knocked off until we get to 15 so that it's a more fair and reliable program. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Those are my comments. I think I'm done.
Thank you. I'm going to wrap up by saying I'm not a fan of option one. I don't want to give county properties to this randomly. And you said there are a few in different areas. I don't think every area, again, to Commissioner Powell's point, is exactly, and I don't want to start having people come here saying, you know, we don't want multi-units in our neighborhood. Because as much as we are trying to give people opportunities, we don't want to, the residents that are here that we do value, we don't want to make it we don't want to make them uncomfortable, or not even uncomfortable, but put them out. You know, they purchased a home, they looked up what was allowed there, they looked up, you know, we're going to have 1 unit per lot. They didn't ever plan to have several units. I understand what we're trying to accomplish with affordability, and I don't disagree. I don't think we should do that on county-owned property especially. I do, however, I do like options 2 and 3. If you could go to option, Yeah, we didn't. I guess I skipped ahead. But to Commissioner Powell's point, I do like, if we are going to have a 15-year, I do like it amortizing. I do like them, you know, not just having one long date and then it all is at that date. I do like, and I can't say that word great, so what he said. There's just specific words that I don't say very well, so we'll leave that one there. As far as, and I guess you guys are still going to go over option 3, so I'll let you continue. But I do support option 2, so thank you.
Mayor, can I ask, so we're looking at reducing the affordability period with it amortizing. Do you want us to consider equity sharing, or no, let the individual have the assistance provided plus the equity earned?
How are we doing it now?
We don't do equity sharing, so we have the extended affordability periods.
I don't know enough to give you an answer. If you'd like to elaborate a little bit on that, I would, on the equity sharing part of this.
Typically, we allow the individuals, so the county will put in assistance to help the home become affordable so they can purchase it. And if they're there 2 years, 3 years, and they earned $100,000, $150 in equity, they get to keep the $150, and the $50 we provided comes back to the county.
I think that's fair. That's how it does it. That's how it works now.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think that works. If that's working, why change it?
It's working. When the question came about reducing or amortizing the assistance provided, meaning we're going to reduce every year the amount of lien.
What's owed? I got you.
Yes,
Commissioner
ma'am.
Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to interject on that one too. If they're currently getting equity sharing, if we're allowing the amortization, it may not be best to allow them to do the equity sharing. Is it possible that you can provide maybe a cost-benefit analysis of both alternatives? What's the pros and cons of the equity share with the amortization, and what would not be, so that we can look at it a little bit more in detail, as opposed to making the decision or giving the directive here now, so we can have a little bit more in-depth knowledge to analyze what we're looking at or what we're considering.
And just to clarify, so we're looking at the amortization of the 15 years, but we are also, but you'll bring back to us a cost analysis of pro cons for the equity portion of that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Madam
perfect.
Mayor, and while, if it's not too much work, can we also compare that to the amortization over 30 years, so that we can look at 30 years, 15 years, and then the cost sharing or the equity sharing?
Sure.
Thank you.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Yeah, this is just a note to staff. I know these are workshops, and we're sort of brainstorming, and it's great to hear all the points of views from the different commissioners and that you're collecting this too. But as a recommendation, like Commissioner Powell just mentioned, a cost-benefit analysis, I think we should bring that to the table at every single discussion, whether it's housing or any department. When we are making decisions up here, I would ask you that you arm us with all of the information up front so that we are able to look at numbers and see how things are impacted. So when you're asking us for equity or not the equity option, like realistically, we should have that data so that we can. And then my last comment, and I think I've said this probably 100 times by now, when was this handout provided to us?
We followed the agenda process. I'm not sure what day you received it from the system, but we followed the process, the normal
Okay, so
process.
this was emailed to us? I must have.
It wasn't emailed. I think it's uploaded into the county's system, agenda item system. I know it was uploaded in the county's agenda item system.
If you don't mind, I'm going to interject. I have asked several times, and under the previous administrator, 3 years now, to have these at least a week in advance to give us time to review them, go over them. And to Commissioner Flores, just to touch on what you said briefly, I think sometimes when we get into these, we go down paths of wanting information that there's no way they could know we want. So that's why I think we don't always get it, and we're trying to keep these brief, and then they bring back to us specific answers.
I agree with you, Mayor. However, I like to run government like you would run a business. And in any business, you wouldn't make decisions without data. I think that's the best way for us to move forward. If you're asking us for options, option A or option B, there should be some analysis or some cost-benefit analysis so that we can make the best decision up here. And Jonathan, I apologize. This is not just you. I'm trying to bring a message to the team that the more information you're able to provide us, then that way we can sit here and tell you definitely option A or option B. So just a couple of comments. And it's not just your department, it's every department out there. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Administrator Abruzzo, did you want to add?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and to Commissioner Flores as well. I will make sure that any form of presentation or packet that's received, it is directly sent via email, not uploaded. It will additionally be uploaded, as well as, even if need be, hand drop off hard copies, so you have it immediately when they're produced and approved.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. I think Vice Mayor Woodward was first.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just real quick, I did want to go back on option one because I know, and I agree, I don't like giving public land away at all, but I did want to double check on these properties. As I understand it, and let me know if I'm right, these are properties we obtained after they were foreclosed on and they couldn't even be auctioned off, right? So we sort of inherited them. Is that what these are?
That's correct. The vast majority of them came to county ownership through tax escheatment. So yes, they went to
Nobody
public
knows what that
auction.
means.
Unpaid taxes. Eventually, the properties were offered at public auction. No one bid on them, or no one made the required minimum bid, and then title escheated to the county.
Okay, so, because I do think that there, probably, you said there's now 55. I mean, I'm certain that all 55 would not make sense, but I would like to know what some of these are that would make sense, because right now, because they've come to us, they're off the tax rolls as well. If we do this and allow a property to be built, even if it's an affordable one, they still are paying property taxes. So I like the idea, especially lots that there's no use that we could ever come up with that would make sense. If it's a parcel, and again, of course, it would help to just match existing zoning. So that was part of the question. What is the max density that we could do that's already a normal part of their process? Not trying to, I don't want to do text change amendments in municipalities because
Yes, ma'am.
we don't like it either. But, for those, I'd like for this option, it's not a no, it's a bring us back the ones that really make sense. And how do we get them back on the tax roll? Because we're never going to build on them either. And right now, they're just sitting there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. not. Quick question. Oh, there we go. Whatever we do, I want to make sure that the money the county is investing returns to the county, because the only way we can continue to help is if we have those dollars. If we forgive those dollars, eventually it all runs out and we can't do anything. So that would be my perspective on whatever we choose to do going forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to start going over option three, please?
Certainly. Thank you. So option 3 is one of the mechanisms we're currently utilizing where we provide direct assistance to buyers to help with down payment, closing costs, et cetera. You pretty much covered this already during your discussion. Our recommendation would be to continue to allow us to put resources to these direct home buyer assistance programs, as it does help ensure that we have income eligible and buyer ready buyers for the units that are created through the other mechanisms.
And for this one specifically, you're bringing the information back to us, what the 15-year amortization would look like and so on?
And 30 years
30
and equity sharing, what that would look like as well.
Perfect. Vice Mayor Woodward.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Real quick on this option, what is the max amount of the assistance we're offering?
Based on the program, I'm sorry, go ahead, Carlos.
Sure. The maximum amount of purchase assistance provided is $100,000.
And do we require a match of any sort?
No, there is minimum buyer contributions, down payment, and there's underwriting, but there's not a direct dollar for dollar match, such as in the new pilot program where a buyer can receive up to $50,000 as a direct match to that buyer's contribution to the purchase.
What is the minimum contribution that's required?
Is it 3.5%?
The minimum contribution for our regular program is 2.5%. Based on your income, and then 3.5% is the max.
And is this money that gets paid back?
Repeat that, I'm sorry, Vice Mayor.
Does this money get paid back, or is this a grant?
If we provide it in the form of down payment assistance, purchase assistance, if they don't live in the home for the entire affordability period, then it comes back and we help another family purchase a home.
And that's a 15-year?
That's a 30-year on purchase assistance, and it's typically a 15-year on rehabilitation.
So if they stay in the house for less than 30 years, then they pay us back the assistance?
They pay us back the 100. If we gave 100,000, they'll pay us back the 100,000. They currently would walk away with all the equity earned. We would use that 100,000 to assist another family.
Are we looking at making any adjustments to this?
That was one of the questions asked, and so we'll provide you kind of a comparison of what a amortizing or reducing affordability would look like, and we'll also bring one back with regards to equity sharing.
How many of these have we done? When did this program start?
Which program?
Where we're doing the financial assistance to home buyers?
Since the 1990s.
Okay, so we don't have to go back that far, but in, say, like a recent 5-year period, or, I don't know, 5 to 10, whatever is a good number, just to kind of help us understand how many of these we have helped, and what, are they here? Are they still here? Or have they left? I mean, kind of what's happening with this? Do we know how effective it's been? Because the property itself is not deed restricted, right?
The properties are deed
Yes,
restricted.
it is.
Yes, ma'am.
It is deed restricted.
Yes, the funding that we provide, the purchase assistance of up to $100,000 is provided in the form of a second mortgage that requires that they that they occupy the property as owner occupant, it's homesteaded, what have you, for that 30-year period. If they vacate the property or convey, sell within that time period, then our second mortgage must be repaid in full from the proceeds of the sale. So one of the things, the direction we're receiving is to look at an option of allowing that assistance to burn off over the affordability period. So for example, say it's a 30-year affordability period, they got $100,000, we're forgiving 1/30th of it every year. So they sell at 15 years, into the 30-year period, they would repay $50,000 out of the $100,000 of assistance.
That's the amortization part that we were talking
Yes.
about? Okay. And so when they sell it, are they then selling it to another income qualified individual where the number, is this a workforce?
No, they're not. They're repaying the assistance.
That's why I was wondering,
If it's
the property's not
workforce-
deed restricted then? The property's not deed restricted at that point because once they sell it, it goes to market, right?
It depends on the program. There is a resale or a recapture provision. If it's workforce housing, they have to resell to someone that's eligible if it's sold during the affordability period. If it is ship or home, we typically look to recapture the dollars. And then again, we can use those to help another family. So again, state and federal have two requirements. You have to pick one, either recapture or a resale provision on that property that was assisted.
Is it recaptured with interest?
The board has not established interest, so we don't typically charge interest. It's just the repayment of what was provided.
Well, I think I would just like to know then, if we're going to amortize this where they have to pay back less each year, then I think we should put interest on it. That's just my thinking. If we're going to forgive any of it, what has to be paid back if they sell early? Because we are going to be losing part of this that doesn't come back into we're not recapturing.
Right, we wouldn't recapture.
Okay.
And so you'll know one of the reasons why we never have to come back to the board to ask for more monies to do down payment or purchase assistance is because the money that comes back, we recycle it through the program. So if we reduce that amount or you reduce affordability period, there could be a situation now where we've run out of assistance and we need to come back to the board to ask for dollars to provide assistance. Now, again, and that's because of the program income. Money just generates over time.
Okay, that needs to be part of how we look at this. And if we were to do partial forgiveness, could we offset that with interest? If it's being forgiven, part of it's being forgiven, we have to keep this money recycling. Otherwise, it will be gone and we will have to find another source of revenue. And I think those are drying up too. So, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Yeah, thank you. So I think, with everything you presented today, what makes the most sense is honestly to put option 1 and option 2 together, where you're going to actually apply your permanent subsidy to the homes being built on those lots. Because now you've lowered your cost by 20 to 30% for your land. That's in the cost of the home, and then you've got that your subsidy that you're putting into it, and leave option 3 for people going to look for potentially existing homes that they just need some help getting into. It's not that in that way we can use the bond money to build new homes on the lots that we already own. And that money will get repaid back and it'll keep circulating back. Obviously the permanent subsidy is going to stay with them. But that was the intent of the bond money, was to be able to circulate it back through. So that's my suggestion.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
So option 3, we're talking about 100,000. It's restricted for 30 years?
Yes.
Depending on the funding source, it's not 100,000 for workforce housing, and it's not 30 years for workforce housing.
Okay. And then what we're talking about is possibly doing the amortization schedule.
Yes, sir.
And maybe based on the period that some of that could be potentially forgiven, we're talking about potentially interest. Regarding the 100,000, I've always thought that program is a little high, and I don't know if there could be tiers based on purchasing price to get them down to a proper level rather than just a blanket 100,000. So I don't know if
So that's a great question, Commissioner. So it's up to 100,000.
Up to.
If an individual only needs 20, then that's all they'll get for that particular property.
Got it.
And we're doing 100. Boca's doing 125.
Right, but Boca's Boca.
No, understood. But again, we were just seeing that, the amount of assistance being provided by municipalities are increasing because the cost of housing are increasing.
No, I understand, but I mean, the price of a home in Boca is significantly higher than something in other parts of the county. That's why I make that comment.
Yes, sir.
I'm okay with doing the, forgiving components of that based on how much. I would also, is there portability? Can you, let's say you have a new family member, or perhaps two, and you bought a house early on, you're 10 years down the road, could you sell that home and port the proceeds into the new home? Could that be something that could be?
In the existing state and federal programs, no, we've established that for the home buyer pilot match program. If we were to do that, we would need to have a conversation with the state, potentially HUD, to see how they would look at us moving those liens. It works on the home buyer match program because it's local funds and we don't have state or federal restrictions.
Or how do we prioritize them? Like maybe if they're selling and those proceeds are going back into the bucket, how do we prioritize them to be able to apply and qualify for those funds that they just put in the bucket?
So then that would take direction because now we're doing the lottery process. And so it's not really a prioritization of anyone. It is who gets that lottery number.
Right, but that's what I mean. We should do maybe a portability because, families do grow over 30 years.
Yes, sir.
And families also do shrink over 30 years. I mean, 30 years is a big lifespan. It will probably be a third of someone's life. So we should look at perhaps a portability component to this because people could potentially be upgrading because you add a family member, or you could be downgrading based on your kids might have left the home, you're retiring, divorce, exactly. So perhaps that could be something to look at too. Thank you.
Sir.
I think our direction has been fairly clear. Do you have any questions for the board?
I think we're clear, Mayor. I'll just reiterate our understanding. We're going to bring back kind of an equity sharing versus non-equity sharing model over a 15-year period, 30-year period. We're going to look at interest and how that plays into it. We're going to also look at amortizing and how that plays within providing down payment assistance. And I believe the other one was based on the lots we have, taking a look at it from a density perspective and seeing, if we can get or what current zoning would allow us to do density-wise and bring that back to you as well. I think those were.
And if you could go over the individual properties with us individually before we get here,
Yes, ma'am.
that'd be great.
And when you
Hold on, Commissioner
and when you do
Flores.
that,
Commissioner Weiss is first.
Oh, sorry.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you. I mean, as we're wrapping up, and I know this was about for sale housing, but I did want to get out there on a couple things on rental. One is we do not allow zero-bedroom apartments to qualify for impact fee forgiveness for affordable zero-bedroom units. I think that needs to be something to be looked at. The other thing is statistic I think is really important, both for renters and non. In here, 44% of renters live alone, and 38% of all households are single people in Palm Beach County. So the zero-bedroom issue, single people living alone, these are a big part of our community now.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Weiss. Commissioner
I was going to say, we'll look at that. One of the things, Commissioner, that's been driving us, because we've had conversations about that, is the FIU Affordable Housing Study, and it talked about the average household being 2.53, 2.54 people. So we were trying to make sure that whatever we recommended was consistent with the study that we've received and presented to the board. But we'll look at that. Yes, sir.
Commissioner Flores.
Yes, sir.
What I wanted to add to the mayor's comments were that when you do show us the properties, that you also tell us what could possibly be done there, because I know Commissioner Power has some concerns regarding what it's zoned for, or if there's an HOA. So if there's no restrictions, could potentially there be a duplex or 2 units or something where we can maximize our impact?
It sounded like he was talking bananas.
Based on current zoning, Commissioner?
Based on current, or if there's an opportunity to perhaps do an overlay or something.
Okay.
Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
Thank you so much. I think we need a lot more statistics. When you talked about the FIU, study, we need more, and we need more up to date, and we need more tax background. So whatever, Jonathan, you need in your department to get this study up to date, bring it to us at that time. But bring it to us, as the mayor said, maybe visit with us individually. This is a lot to digest, and it really needs to be mentored to us individually, all right?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
give it to us, as administrator said, we'll get it 2-3 weeks beforehand. Come talk to us and get a couple more studies other than the FIU study, because I think that I think we got a lot more to review. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the work.
Yes.
Mayor, one
Jonathan.
last question. One of the things we wanted to do was have this conversation today before we issued the housing bond for the for sale units. Is it the board's direction today that we hold off on doing the housing bond for the for sale? It's going to be approximately $40 million, or do you want us to see what's out there and issue an RFP for housing bond on for sale? And it won't include county-owned lots, but again, it'll be projects that developers already working
We're
on.
going to go from left to right and see if we can get through these. Commissioner Sacks, do you want them to hold on until we get more information, or to proceed?
I'd like us to go from right to left, because I think a lot of the folks over
Okay.
there know a lot more about this than, especially Commissioner Powell as well. But that would be my suggestion.
I will take your suggestion. Commissioner Marino.
Okay, I think we've talked about this quite often, and our discussions are never short. And when the information comes back to us, it's never short. I would like to see the RFP go out, because we just keep waiting. Make the money available. Let's see what comes back.
Commissioner Powell.
Shall you proceed? Yes, indeed. I believe all gas, no brakes. Let's go.
Okay. Vice Mayor Woodward.
I did have one question before I answer. Do we have any outstanding right now that's not allocated?
On the for sale side, the board directed us to set aside $40 million, so we were waiting to issue. We've issued the rental RFPs, but we were holding off on that for sale
Didn't
RFP.
we say if any of those rentals fall off through underwriting or for whatever reason, then we could move it over? Has any of that happened?
Not yet. No.
Okay. I mean, I definitely want to proceed. I just was wondering if any of that money we've already pulled has become available again, because I'd like to use it first.
Not yet. Not
Okay.
yet.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
I did the wrong thing here. What has been the sentiment of the developers on what we produced? Are they excited? Are they ready? Are they like ready, eager to go, or have you heard that maybe there's work that needs to be done?
They're absolutely excited over the rental, the ones that we've spoke to on the for sale.
Yeah,
have
we're talking for sale right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
The
let's
ones-
focus on that.
The ones we've spoken to on for sale are interested. They've shared with us some changes they'd like to see made, one of which dealt with development subsidy, because again, some of the projects that are coming forward, the developer feels that they still need a subsidy in order to make it affordable. Hence the two options of a permanent subsidy for the developer and bringing land to the conversation. And then you may have others, again, that we're not aware of that could be ready to go. But the ones we've spoken with seem to be excited, but they're still looking for some changes to the program.
So are we going to get applicants?
I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Are we going to get applicants?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Okay.
Last round, we did not, if I'm not mistaken. Jeff?
There were no responsive proposals received.
So even if we do put it out and we don't get applicants, we can still change this once we get more information, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but my concern is that we rush and we go through an RFP process. We waste 6-9 months, whatever, I don't know how long this will be.
How long is it going to take you to put an RFP for the for sale?
I think we've got the base of an RFP already prepared. We could probably go pretty darn quick.
And the selection and comes before us and how long?
Typically, we run an RFP, it goes 45 days for submittal process, and then we have a selection process, and, in about 60 days, 60 to 90 days, we could.
Perfect.
Not 60 days to the board, but
Yeah.
90 days back to the board with whatever results we got on an RFP. We could move fairly quick with the existing template that we got.
Within the government framework and how long that we take to move and, well, okay. I'm ready to move forward because I want this, I want to put units out there, but I also want the RFP process to work and to move this along forward. So I guess we'll put it out there, and if for some reason it's not what we're looking for, then we'll make adjustments.
Commissioner Weiss? I mean, we have 4 yeses, but. All right. We are going to break for lunch until 10 after 1. Thank you, sir.
Oh, I just
Commissioner
want to say,
Sacks,
let's get the money.
Yeah. Thank you.